Engine Noise Podcast is brought to you by OneAAuto.com. Quality auto parts that ship quickly and come with thousands of free online videos that walk you through your installs. Hey, welcome to the Engine Noise Podcast for do-it-yourselfers like me who don't mind getting their hands filthy dirty. I'm your car guy, Jeremy Nutt.
And I'm Matt, the guy that brings the questions, the snacks, and the fun to the show.
Welcome, Matt.
Thanks.
Today's show, we have a special guest co-owner of our awesome sponsor, OneAAuto, Mike Green.
Thank you for that nice introduction.
Let's hear about GTOs. Why GTOs?
My father graduated high school in 1964, and in 1964, the car to have was a 64 GTO. You know, it's arguably the car that started the muscle car craze. He actually ended up was successful in getting one later in his life. Some of my first memories of cars are 5 or 6 years old. He was restoring his 66 GTO, and I started getting under there, handing him wrenches, watching what he was doing. Then I started helping him work on them, and then later on, he would actually, he was in the Air Force. What he would do is they had what was called enlisted lots. So the guys who went overseas, they would park their cars in the enlisted lot, and kind of it was a used car lot because if you called them up and asked them about it, they would probably sell it to you because they'd rather have the money for their family or whatever. So he found a GTO for my brother when he was 15 and a 64 GTO when I was 14 years old for $1,000 out of one of these lots. And
Wow.
GTOs are, like I said, arguably the car that started the muscle car craze. They're just kind of classy. They've got good power. The ones we drive are 4 speeds, a lot of fun to drive. They're raw. We've got a couple that are no power brakes, no power steering. You can just feel everything that goes on with the road.
Right.
They're great looking, just like them.
Very cool.
What is the significance of GTO?
GTO actually stands for Gran Turismo Omologato.
Fancy.
Yeah. There's all kinds of different acronyms. People say gas, tires, and oil because they can burn gas, you can burn oil, and you can burn tires on them. There's little magnets that say get in, shut up, and hold on. But basically, in the 60s, there was a lot of drag racing going on, and John DeLorean and Jim Wangers are the two guys that kind of got together at Pontiac. DeLorean wanted to throw a big engine into their intermediate-sized car, and Wangers was a great marketing mind. And basically, in 64, they took the big engine from their full-size cars, threw it into their intermediate car, stuck the GTO badge, which they kind of borrowed from Ferrari, put it out on the street, and they expected to sell, 3,000 the first year, and they ended up selling, 60,000 in the first year.
Wow,
64.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
That worked out.
And that's where all the other things came out of in the later years. Chevelle went to their SS, and Buick had their GS, and 442 for Oldsmobile, and then the Chryslers got in, and Ford got in on it too.
Yeah, in a previous episode, we had talked about why you'd put truck engines in cars and whatnot, and it's all like power and weight ratios, where you just want the biggest engine possible in the smallest car, and then you get a absolutely awesome street car that can do burnouts.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the GTO was. It was a big engine in a small car, and you could just go to the dealership and buy it. All the performance you could ever want, especially compared to anything else of that era. It just didn't exist.
And going back to my father, he actually went to school at Lowell Tech. Like I said, in 64, he was attracted to the GTO, but he showed up at school for his first day, and his roommate had a brand new 65 GTO. And he says
that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, he said his roommate only lasted one semester because he ended up going off. He burned the red line bias ply tires were gone in like 2 days.
Right.
And then he threw a set of cheater slicks on there and would just go up to the Lowell connector and basically see how long he could roast the tires for. So.
Yes.
And class was secondary.
Yeah. Maybe not the best choice.
I think you could say it was the best choice.
Yeah, maybe
I
it
guess
was
so,
the
yeah.
best choice. So I know you're a Pontiac enthusiast, not just GTOs. I have heard that you recently got a Firebird.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about what landed a Firebird in your yard?
Once you're an enthusiast for a brand, you got to make sure that you own all the
All of
different
them.
models.
Right.
Gotta get them all.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it was a great thing for when my father and myself and my brother, we kind of fixed up our GTOs together.
Yep.
And I guess it was a way for my father to kind of keep us out of trouble a little bit. But also, it's just a great way to spend time. And I actually bought the Firebird because my daughter is now 15. And I told her, if she helps me fix it up, it'll be hers someday. So it's a really pretty nice car, 68 Firebird 400. California car, but we're taking it all apart. We're going to have it painted. I don't do paint and body work. It came with a rebuilt engine, came with a rebuilt transmission, so we lucked out there.
Awesome.
It's a way to spend time, get her interested in it. I want to make sure that she has something to intimidate the boys with or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I think I learned I kind of grew up in the same sort of thing that you did, where both of our fathers were car guys, and I grew up handing wrenches to my dad and like always spending time in the driveway watching him work on stuff. And I think me getting a car at 15 years old and basically having to like replace all the floors in it and quarter panels and engine and transmission and all that stuff, I think it also, not only was it good quality time with my dad at the time, but it also gave me a lot of appreciation for what goes into repairing a car, and it gave me a whole lot of respect for the car itself, what it's capable of. And then when I drove it on the street, it was like, I've put 1,000,000 hours into this thing. I don't want to blow the thing up or wrap it around a tree or let my friends hang all over it or do stupid teenager things in the car. So I think it gave me a lot more respect on the street driving any car, because of all the time that I have invested in these things.
I agree. That's true. It's funny because, some of the parents are like, oh, does that have airbags? I'm like, no, it doesn't have airbags. You're lucky it had seatbelts in 1960. I'm a firm believer in the airbags and everything. All that stuff is great. But the most important thing is the person behind the wheel.
Right.
And you're right. Working on them, taking them apart, understanding how all the different things work.
Right.
Teaches a lot of respect. It also, especially with older cars, I'm trying to teach her how to be resourceful. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff's available for that car, but some things we have to go through bins of parts, and every answer is not just right there for you.
Yep.
So the tough thing is, though, she's a great athlete, great student. So having the time to work on the car
exactly
is and I'm not a patient person all the time, so I have to kind of temper myself.
So has she latched onto this? Is she into cars?
She is. I think she wants to latch onto it, but that's kind of what I was saying. She's a sophomore in high school. She just got Rookie of the Year for the varsity soccer team. And
that's awesome.
And she gets straight A's. And, on the weekend, if we get 3 hours on a Sunday, she usually has homework that she has to do, or she may just want some time to relax. So has she latched onto it? Daddy, let's go out and fix the car. Not at that point, but I think she sees the value in it too, and she's excited about it.
One thing that you could always do, you could have like a marathon couple-week adventure to really get the car done, gather 10 friends and get it all done really quickly so that she can have it for her high school prom. Now, I have heard that you've done this in the past.
My sister has a 67 GTO.
Yep.
She probably was in the same boat. Very good student. I don't think she ever really got into the car. And what her husband decided to do was, let's take it apart, let's repaint it and put it back together. He and I and a couple other friends managed to do that in 2 weeks. We took the car almost all the way apart, threw some paint. I don't know if I would call it a paint job.
I've seen it. I don't know if I'd call it a paint job either, but it looks pretty good from 20 feet away.
Yeah, it's one color, and we put it back together, and we're able to surprise them with it when they got back from their honeymoon, which was very cool.
Now, that car hadn't been driven on the street much before that either, right?
The only driving it got is I took it to New England Dragway one time and ran it and did 16-second quarter miles and was totally embarrassed. But
Nice. Now, what kind of engine and transmission were in that car?
This is an interesting story. 67 GTO should be a 400 cubic inch, 6.5 liter with a 4-speed, and it should have 355 gears. You want to know what it means?
Well, I mean, I already know.
Oh.
But for the
Of course, Matt already knows.
When somebody says, 400 cubic inch with 4-speed and 355 gears means that for every spin of the drive shaft, the 3.55 spins, the tires go around once. So if you think about riding a bicycle, when you're in first gear and you're spinning your legs really fast and the bike's going slow, you have a higher ratio of pedal spins to the rear wheel. When you have a higher numerical ratio, 355 or 410 to 1, that means that the engine has an easier time throwing power back to the wheels. But what they had done with that car is sometime in the mid-70s, when there was a fuel crisis, somebody decided they were going to make a GTO into a economical car. So
which is the opposite of what you should do.
So they actually had taken out the 400 block and put in a 326 block, which is a 5.3 liter, put on all the regular stuff, which means the heads were the same size, which means the compression ratio went way down, which doesn't make power. And then they pulled out the 355 rear end and put in, I think, a 293 rear end.
Whoa.
So no power from the engine and a numerically lower rear gear. And I didn't realize that. I didn't know it when I took it to the track. I thought it was a 400 with a 355 in it, and I was going to be turning 14-second quarter miles.
Right. And then you got to the track and you were just shamed all the way home.
You saved some money on gas.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't burn nearly as much gas.
That's good.
Mike, if it doesn't work out where your daughter doesn't want the car, I could fill in.
You want to be my daughter?
Well, either way, if I get the car, then
Sure. Seems like a good idea.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, keep it in
Not
mind.
into it.
That's all I'm saying.
I will.
Just write down Matt's name on
Yep,
a
that's
little
all.
card or something.
Yep.
Just in case. All right. So we've covered Pontiacs a little bit.
Yep.
I know that in the past you had kind of an oddball G-body
Oddball? How's a Pontiac Grand Prix an oddball?
because of the transmission that was in it. I believe it had a manual transmission.
Oh, that G-body.
That G-body. Although, have you had more than one G-body?
Yeah, I actually have had a few G-bodies, but yes, that was a very interesting car. It had a 1978 Le Mans.
Oh.
Oh.
Is that
Le
a 78 Le Mans? Is that a G-body? It must be, right? Or is it something weird?
It's like a BG body. Like,
Yeah.
I think they did BG because they were making the Bonneville out of that body at that time too.
Okay.
Maybe not the Bonneville, but it was a 78 Le Mans with a V6, it had a 3.0-liter V6, and it had a 4-speed.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
And it was a 4-door.
That is really crazy.
Before I got it, it belonged to a friend of mine in high school, and I didn't really know anything.
Yeah.
And I remember walking to baseball practice one day, and you had to walk through the parking lot of the school. And I'm just walking along, and I saw the car. I didn't think much about it. And as I'm walking by, I just, out of the corner of my eye, there's a 4-speed shifter sticking up out of the out of the middle
You're
of the
like,
thing.
what the
Yeah,
heck?
exactly. I was like, what the heck is that? And it, pretty much when I went by, I knew I had to buy it off him. at
Oh,
some point, so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Hey, it's like yours, Jeremy.
It's just like mine, actually. Except mine doesn't have a 4-speed, unfortunately.
What is so rare about this car?
In 78, in those cars, automatics were pretty much the standard issue. And on a 4-door, that body they shared with the Grand Prix, even the Grand Prix, they offered the 4-speed, but
It had to be super rare.
yeah, I think we looked it up and it was like 900 cars or something like that.
wow.
For the whole body, the whole
Right.
platform. I'm pretty sure that was a one-of-one car. Here's a good story. We were trying to figure out maybe why somebody did that. And so it had V6, 4-speed, and it had the handling package on it.
Huh.
So we were thinking maybe somebody that had a European flair
Yeah.
bought it. What we found out, this may not be this car, but it's just an interesting story. We were at another show, and we were talking about oddball cars that people had seen throughout the days. And there was a guy there, and he just spoke up and said, hey, I know where those things came from. I can't remember the guy's name, but back in the day, and this was something that happened often, sometimes the dealer guys who were responsible for the cars, they would order most of the cars and try and make good orders that they thought people wanted. But every once in a while, they'd take an order sheet to a bar.
Oh.
They'd have a few drinks, and they'd just
Pick
put
all the weird
all
stuff?
Weird stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So the car we were talking about was like it was probably like a 66 Le Mans that they had put a overhead cam 6 in and a 4-speed, but then put power windows on and red interior it was like tan with a white top and just
Yeah. All the things that shouldn't go together.
exactly. So
Wow.
dealer reps would just kind of check boxes after having a few beers, and that's how some cars would get built.
I have to imagine, like, the console in that car must have been so incredibly rare. Like, what would it be?
There was no console.
Oh, really? So it was
a-
just a boot on the floor?
Yeah, it was just a plastic surround around a boot.
Wow.
And it was a bench seat, 4-door,
Yeah, that is
red
a
interior,
pretty cool car.
red vinyl bench seat with a 4-speed.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, if I was out shopping for cars right now, I would see that and I would be like, there's no way I want that car. But I have this other, like, side of me that says, it's an awesome car. It's a 4-door with a 4-speed transmission. Why wouldn't I want it?
Every once in a while, I get nostalgic and think about I could go find one of those down south and throw
Yeah.
a 4-speed in it and make that car up again. But I'd make it with
Right.
probably a 400 in it or
Yeah.
something that actually went.
And 2 doors instead of 4.
No.
Really?
Not to have 4 doors. Yeah.
All right.
Has to be nostalgic.
All right, so we've talked about a lot of Pontiacs. Now I think we should probably talk about OneAAuto. OneAAuto is our sponsor, of course, and the reason that we are able to do this show. I would like to hear about pretty much the story of OneAAuto and how it got started. Tell me why OneAAuto is what it is.
Well, I think it's appropriate that we went from Pontiacs into OneAAuto because that's kind of how OneAAuto came to be. I talked a little bit about my father being in the Air Force. When he retired from the Air Force, he had been involved so much in Pontiacs and GTOs just as a hobby, going to shows. And after he retired from the Air Force, he went to work for a company that sold restoration parts for Pontiacs, and then he decided to start his own business, a company called Split Grill News First, where he sold off NOS.
NOS?
Not NOS,
Not
Matt.
NOS. NOS being new old stock. He would find dealerships, old Pontiac dealerships, and they would have just old parts laying around, he'd buy them up, put out a newsletter, and started selling that way. That went into Warrior Revival, which was a regular mail-order catalog business, and he ended up selling that off. OneAAuto kind of grew out of that. My brother Rick and I and my father went from basically nothing to a large business, selling lots of parts to lots of people. We very much enjoy empowering people to do their own auto repairs.
You have quite a few videos at this point. Where did that come from?
The videos was actually kind of my baby. Probably in 2007, 2008, my sister had a 97 or 98 Pontiac Grand Prix. It was Pontiacs again.
Yeah, supercharged?
It was supercharged.
Oh.
GTP.
So you thought we talked about every Pontiac.
I know.
She had just gotten into a little fender bender, broke the headlight. One day at work, I was messing around and seeing people starting to watch videos. YouTube was starting to gain traction. And I'm like, what if I videotaped me putting the new OneAAuto light onto her car? And I went and did that. After a month or two, it had like 2,000 views. And we said, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
We went and did 10 videos. Then we did 100 videos. We started getting feedback from people about how it helped them. And so it grew from there.
One of the new videos that has completely blown my mind recently is a head gasket video on a Subaru. So
I've seen it, yeah.
It's 2 hours long, and it is the most awesome video I have come across. It documents a Subaru head gasket unlike anything I've ever seen. Now, I've done these before, so I know what's involved, and I was watching the video going, man, this is awesome. Like, I wish I had this video before the first one I did, because it would have made my job way faster and just way better overall.
It's great to hear that. And that's what it's about. It's about making it easier for people. It's not always just the end customer. I mean, that seems to be the most satisfying. But I've talked to friends of mine who have garages and stuff like, I use your videos all the time because somebody will bring in something that I haven't done for a while.
Right.
So I'll watch the video for 5 minutes, and then it'll take me 20 minutes less to fix the car. I don't expect everybody's going to be doing a head gasket on a Subaru, but it's pretty awesome that somebody like yourself would find it that interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome because you can actually reference all of like the OneAAuto videos for obviously the repair in the video, but there's a lot of other reasons why you can reference these videos if you need to know what kind of bolts are behind some pulley or something like that. You can pull up the video, you look ahead to 3 minutes in, and you're like, oh, that's how this thing comes apart. And then you can go back and take it apart in your car.
Yeah.
It's super helpful.
I've been working on cars for a long time, and I've even started using YouTube as a resource and things like that. And yes, our videos, we try to do a much better job. We try to light things better. We try to just show you and give you much better, more information on how to do those things in it. And then it's up to the customer. Some customers look at it and they're like, that's a little beyond my, that's beyond my skills, and that's fine. But we want you to go to the repair shop, kind of having an idea what's going to happen, what's going on with your car.
I think it could be used for a bunch of different reasons, not just the repair itself, but just referencing and then, giving people an idea of what these jobs actually entail.
But on the other side too, there's a lot of things about cars that people think are complicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of parts we sell, window regulators, mirrors, and things like that, it's a lot easier than you think. Even though your car is all electronic with all the computers, there's things you have to be careful with, but there's a lot of things you can do yourself. You can do it, and we hopefully can help out.
I know it's helped Matt.
It sure has. I mean, my truck is falling apart, but
it literally is falling apart.
Little by
I've seen
little,
pieces come off of it.
I can put it back together. I fixed my tailgate handle. I fixed my headlight. I thought the headlight was going to be this huge job, but watching the video, super simple.
I'm glad we could help you out, Matt.
Anybody that's trying to give information out there, great. But I've seen videos that you just can't see anything. The camera's shaking all over the place. They drop the phone and they pick it back up when you get dizzy. OneAAuto videos are like very clear, high quality, tells you exactly what you need to do, where you need to go, and they show you the part you're putting on, and you guys sell the parts. It's awesome. It's a whole package deal.
I think that's how we try and do everything. We want to be your trusted source for auto parts, whether it's trusting our videos because they're more clear and they're better and they're more detailed. We go to the manufacturers of the parts, make sure that they're the quality we want. We want the quality that you want. We want to make sure that the part you get is going to work correctly and you're going to be happy with it. Happy customers are the best customers.
All right, Mike, are you ready for the lightning round of questions?
As long as I don't get struck by a bolt of lightning, I'm ready.
I can't promise that, but we're going to see. Matt, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right, Mike. What is your favorite car built before 1960?
My favorite car built before 1960 would be a 55 Chevy.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't expect you for a shoebox Chevy guy.
Well, that's the first one I could think of. I think it goes back to American Graffiti. The black 55.
Yep. All right. How long ago was your last burnout? I'm talking a real burnout.
Real good burnout was, I'd have to say that was back in August. I was at Summit Motorsports Park, and I got to drive a 63 Pontiac Catalina Nostalgia drag car.
Oh, that's sweet. What engine do you want most right now?
Oh.
Just the engine.
I don't know. What was that engine on your lawnmower? Probably the LT4, the 6.2 liter supercharged.
The new one.
I've actually been looking at 1LE ZL1 Camaros, but I can't get serious about spending that kind of money.
I know. It is huge money. Superchargers, turbochargers, or naturally aspirated?
I'd say I'm naturally aspirated, but I have a tendency towards superchargers too.
Okay. Carburetors or fuel injection?
It's all been carburetors for me.
Oh,
I haven't. I mean, I like it. I like the idea of fuel injection, but I've messed with carburetors my whole life. So
that's a little troubling to me. But
yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel about that, Jeremy?
I mean, I think they all belong at the bottom of the ocean. Every one of them.
Fuel injections?
All the carburetors. You can't put fuel injection at the bottom of the ocean. All right. Name a car that you didn't buy a long time ago, but you should have.
I should have bought when it was brand new a 1989 20th anniversary Trans Am with the turbocharged 3.8 liter.
Yeah, those are rad. All right, fastest speed you've gone in a boat.
Ooh, probably 52 miles an hour if I can think of anything. Yeah, 52 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I can't even
imagine. What is that
imagine.
in knots?
Probably about 48 knots.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was good at knot conversion.
Hopefully, I may not be. I just might be making it up.
I know. For all, it could
You
be a
may
completely
not
fake
be.
number. What is the best model name of a car?
Oh, wow. Just trying to see what comes up on my head.
Yeah, there was some good ones in like the 40s and 50s. Well, really?
Yeah. For some reason, the one that popped into my head is an Imperial, but I don't know why. The best. Well, I like Ventura. I'm kind of partial to Ventura. Ventura's a nice name. So.
Ventura's a nice one. What is the... Oh, I think I'm going to know this one. What is the best car in a movie?
One with the 55 Chevy.
Right.
That's where we started. There is the 70 Judge from, what was that cult movie back?
Two-lane blacktop?
Yeah, two-lane blacktop.
Yes. Well, there's also the 55 Chevy in that, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
55 Chevys, they're all over the place.
Yeah, I know. You can't avoid it.
Should I watch Two-Lane Blacktop?
You definitely should.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
It has. It is the hit movie starring James Taylor, who you may know from the music industry.
Yeah.
You would not realize it was him unless somebody told you, because it's like so out of character for him.
Ooh.
Like you picture him to be this like folky music guy, and in this he's like this teenage kid that's just like swearing the whole time, and it's just awesome.
That's
You
not
gotta
the guy
watch
I
this
know.
movie. No,
Okay.
it's
I
not
gotta
a
see
James
it.
Taylor you know. What is your favorite tool in your toolbox?
Ooh, probably the extendable magnet.
Really?
Because I tend to drop all my favorite tools too, so my magnet can go back and get my favorite
Yes.
Good
tools
call.
when I drop them under the intake manifold. It has
Right.
a carburetor on top of it.
Oh, brother. You know what I would do? I would pull the intake manifold off and throw the whole thing in the trash and just start over with fuel injection. All right, last one. Dead or alive, who do you want to meet most in the car world?
You know what? I would love to meet John Force.
Oh,
Yes, I heard him speak probably 10 years ago, and it was one of the greatest. And I don't even remember the subject matter and everything, but he was a great speaker. I have seen him close up at some of the NHRA events, but I've never actually gotten to meet him.
huh. Yeah, he seems like he's probably got some really awesome automotive history to talk about. Like,
Yes.
if he was to make a documentary or write some books or something, that would be some quality stuff.
Yeah, I've met some old racers in my time, and I could just imagine the stories that he could
Yeah,
tell. And,
absolutely.
especially when you can get into their minds about some of the different things they do with the cars
Right.
and driving and stuff. It's very interesting.
Okay, guys. Who is John Force?
John Force is a fairly well-known drag racer. He's very well-known. He's a multi-time Top Fuel champion. He just drives those big, loud, crazy, high-horsepower cars.
A couple of years ago, he was at an event at New England Dragway, which is our local racetrack, and he was talking about how he used to go there in the 1970s or something like that, and how it was a really awesome track that he used to really love going to. And then he didn't get to go to it for a while because they weren't having NHRA events there, but now they're doing it again, and now he's back, and he's all excited to be there again.
Yeah,
So it's pretty cool.
New England Dragway is a pretty cool place.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Engine Noise, a podcast brought to you by our amazing sponsor, OneAAuto.com. Quality auto parts that ship free and have thousands of how-to videos that walk you through your installs. Thank you to Mike. It was great having you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. It was great being here.
And to our producer, Jamie Prohaska, our editor, Patty Ford, and our marketing guy, Christian Hera.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks, everyone. We'll have another great episode of Engine Noise drop in 2 weeks. Our show drops on the 1st and 15th of every month with a little bit of car news and coffee in between. Be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified every time one of our episodes drops. And remember to like, follow, and share our show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again for being here, Mike. And to our listeners, until next time, continue to DIY.
Do it yourself.
Get a Pontiac.
Email us for help with your project car at help@enginenoisepodcast.com or ask us a question. Ask us anything.
We'll answer you.
This podcast is over.
Over.
This Engine Noise podcast is brought to you by OneAAuto.com. Hit the subscribe button now so you'll know when a new episode drops. Have a question for Jeremy or Matt? Send us an email at help@enginenoisepodcast.com.
Favorite kind of ice cream?
Coffees, cookies, and cream.
Oh.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I'm a chocolate guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Chocolate was the first thing that came to my mind, but coffee, cookies, and cream is where my heart is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do the chocolate chip with the vanilla.
Wow.
That's good, yeah.
You're old school.
Yeah.
I mean, I like chocolate and chocolate chip too, but
No, I need vanilla and chocolate chip.
vanilla.
Vanilla ice
Chocolate-
cream
that's chocolate
with
chip.
chocolate chips.
Isn't that
That's
just chocolate chip, though?
yeah.
Yeah, it's chocolate chip.
Can you get chocolate chip?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You get anything you want, Jeremy.
I would want coffee chocolate chip.
I bet they have it.
It's coffee, cookies, and cream.
I know. That's my favorite, but
Pink
Ooh,
lemonade,
these.
cookies, and cream.
lemonade.
Ooh, there we go.
That'll make you sick.
I like water-flavored ice cream.
That's ice.
That's ice. That's snow.